Sorry, what?
I said we are live on Twitter. Yes, live on Twitter. Wrong one.
Need to actually open the script.
Yes. That was a really delayed bong.
Yeah, it was.
I did some tweaking. I marked red on the comments. I left the Cole one there just because I'm like, if we wanted to read them out, we totally could. And I moved
Yeah.
the big Dorian Iron Bull section down to the end because I feel like we really need to talk about it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I have.
Do we want to? Huh?
I agree. I agree. I remembered more of what the comment said, and I'm like, wait, I do have an opinion. Never mind. I was going to say I didn't think I had much of one. Surprising. I know. I always have an opinion, but I actually do, so never mind.
Do we want to role play it out? Like I'll be Iron Bull and you can be Dorian and we'll just read those lines?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay. We will get to the opinions at the end when we're talking about the part that we have opinions on. And hello to everyone. Muffiny, Eileen, just for the halibut.
Oh my god. Sorry. My Twitch volume was all the way up. Hello, everyone. Hello, friends. Hello, sister. Best friend Eileen. VBFE. Need to come be. Okay. Gosh.
And Sandy. All your
Sandy.
fans is here tonight.
All my friends, yeah. It's like Sandy is someone we went to boot camp with in the Navy and who we have maintained friendship all these years later. 13 years. Yep, 13 years this month.
Jen, Iron Bull episode. Yes. What about it? So excited. Me too. Hi, Sadie. Hi, Harry.
Can we test the audio? Just
for
my
Clippies?
sanity. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Sam just texted me first.
You say Sam just texted you?
Yeah.
Hello, Samuel.
Oh, I haven't played this one in a long time.
So thanks for listening. And remember that beauty is in the eye of the controller.
There you go. We haven't heard that one in a while. Oh, hi, Mare Bear.
My sweet potato. He has always been my constant companion, but especially this week, we have been attached even more so.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it in the episode, but I can tell everyone here. My douche canoe, wonderful, beautiful boy Ollie died on Sunday. The one who you always heard meowing in the background that we weren't always able to edit the meows out. He was sick for a long time, but he sped it up by eating something he shouldn't have, and it was basically inoperable with his other conditions going on. So we made the decision to say goodbye. It also would have cost $11,000 for a very risky, not guaranteed surgery. Yeah, I've never seen a vet bill that high in my life. So, it's a really shitty thing to have to decide between a very significant risk, maybe, because of money, like,
yeah.
This is nothing compared to like someone making decisions for human healthcare based on cost, but really shouldn't. I know the vets are doing their job, but it's so expensive to do anything.
Oh, that's very big money for not a guarantee.
And and he was one of those cats that had to literally be fully sedated for a vet to even do a physical exam, like a basic exam. He was so scared that he was violent. They call it fractious. And yeah, so it would have been hell for him, and it would have been hell for them to try and treat him. It was just a lot of things, so it was unfortunately easier on everyone. And like I said, he had other things going on that he wasn't doing as well as we thought from, because they did lots of x-rays and like confirmed that. But he was the best and the worst. I miss him. And also it's been very weird to live very peacefully in my house. Like leaving food on the counter is a thing we can do now. Or not hear meowing all night. So it's like very bittersweet. I miss him. He was mine, you know. He liked me more than any other human. But I don't want to get sad, so I drink my wine and be quiet so we can talk about Dorian.
Yeah. Ad break should be over in a minute, so we'll start it after I think that's gone. Which is weird that I didn't get one. But Twitch told me that it was about to run ads, so who knows? What's going on? Okay. Okay. All right. I think we're good. Let's restart the Audacity and get this party started. Oh, ad break in progress ends in 20 seconds. Okay. There we go.
I don't see ads.
That's weird. Well, Twitch is telling me it's running ads right now and that it'll be done in 10 seconds. Okay.
Well, wait.
But then it should only be...
It's 27 seconds is what it says for me. So it's like 30 seconds total, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says ad break ended. Your community is back.
Mine's super delayed. It still says 15 seconds.
Oh, wow. Mine still says another 30. Okay. Sadie says the ads are done.
Trust Sadie.
Yes. Okay. All right. I think we can finally get started. Whew. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Ship, the podcast where we analyze, rate, and review all that the world of video game romances has to offer. I'm Genesis, the girl who is adding a Cyberpunk 2077 Part 2 to the list of topics for next year. All romances are getting additional dates and hangouts in the patch that comes out on December 5th.
That will be interesting. I have to play that. I am Vervada, the girl who was too busy replaying the ending of my first playthrough for Baldur's Gate 3 because they also just got a huge patch and they have restored the epilogue that they cut because they apparently thought it was too long and no one would want it. And I don't know why they thought that because it is exactly what we want. It's perfect. If you guys have not finished the game, I'm glad you've waited till this point to get the epilogue. And if you haven't finished it already, you should do it again so you can see it.
I also am going to go back and replay the epilogue. I was going to, but then I was like, did they fix my kiss? Did they fix my kiss? And no, my male Tav cannot kiss his boyfriend yet, and I'm still very upset.
That is very annoying. I thought they fixed it. I haven't. The save I loaded was literally in the middle of fighting the Netherbrain, like once you opened the portal, and I just saved so I could reload that, kill it, and then see the end cutscenes. So I had already done my final kiss, and there was no kiss in the epilogue, which was disappointing, actually. I feel like if you didn't romance people, you got more content in the epilogue than in the romance content, but it's fine because it's a very happy ending. At least for me, it was. So.
Yeah. My makeout session with Housen was pretty good, though. I reloaded that save in order to make out with him. I'm happy with that. So, yeah. Anyways, if you're new here, welcome to the beautiful chaos that is Baldur's Gate 3 tangents constantly. But you should know that our podcast centers on character and romance analysis and doesn't shy away from exploring the fun of fucking.
Or from the deep emotional connections built between two or more characters using specific in-game dialogue. So if you want to stay spoiler-free, then this isn't the podcast for you.
So here's your fucking spoiler alert.
Thanks for the spoiler alert, N7. And for causing my brain to break earlier tonight when you started thinking of crossover ships like Garrus and Karlach. Right? I was like, Baldur's Gate 3 tangent part 2.
Yes. We'll snip that in the bud so we can get talking to today's topic.
Exactly. And just like with all of our previous episodes, we'll assume that you have some background knowledge of the game and character in question, but we will be providing context for those of you who may be unfamiliar.
Yes, I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this game, but context is key. And today we are still in Thedas. And like we said, we'll be here for a while. Today we're talking about someone from Thedas' evil villain country, the Tevinter Imperium. Shock. The Tevinter Imperium is essentially the Roman Empire, even down to the language they use, which is mainly just straight Latin. Our lover today is a glorious noble mage, a handsome camp gay with a killer mustache and the flamboyant style you would expect from such a beautiful person. He's got hidden depths, though. Don't just brush him off as the token gay guy. He sure isn't. We are, of course, talking about Dorian Pavus from Dragon Age Inquisition.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities, believe me.
Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me.
Thank you, Dorian, for standing somewhere quiet. You, as a digital piece of fiction, may not know it, but it makes my audio heart happy to not have to try and remove any background noises. Stares directly at Cassandra. Okay, this is Dorian time. Dorian is a member of the prestigious House Pavus. Now, to provide some context about Dorian's upbringing within the Tevinter Imperium, we're going to briefly explain some things about the Tevinter Imperium. The Tevinter Imperium is unique amongst the nations of Thedas in that it is ruled by a magical aristocracy. Unlike the others, where the mages are distrusted and sometimes outright banned from the nobility, it's a nation where slavery is very much legal and commonplace. The other nations have thankfully done away with slavery, specifically elven slavery, although there are still some human slaves in the Empire as well.
Yeah, anyone can be a slave, but definitely it's mostly elves. That's not to say that when they're not in the Tevinter Imperium, that elves are treated well, though. I digress. I don't want to get all soulless on everybody. But just in case you are unaware, because they don't make it super clear in the games unless you talk at length to Dorian, and we all did, I imagine, especially for romancing him. But there are 3 distinct classes of mage in Tevinter. Altus, the top tier of the nobility due to their bloodlines being directly related to what they call the Dreamers, or the mages who first founded the Tevinter Imperium. They have the Latins. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing these. I don't speak Latin. We do have a patron, Apollo, who is a Latin teacher, so maybe he should have been on this episode. But they have the Latins, mages with strong magical bloodlines, but not related to the Dreamers, and the Praetari, or those families who do not have strong magical bloodlines, but have someone who has a magical ability in the family. Having a mage child in Tevinter is a meal ticket to the aristocracy, even though the Praetari are looked down on by both the Altus and the Latent classes.
So House Pavus is a member of the Altus class, so Dorian is nearly as high-ranking of a noble as you can get in the Imperium nobility. And he has lived in the lap of luxury his whole life, which is why he has such flair and style in present-day Inquisition times. He demonstrated powerful magic from a young age, making him the pride of his family and the envy of his fellow baby Tevinter mages. Dorian struggled in the circles he was sent to as a baby mage, often being too powerful and hurting his fellow students. Eventually, his father sent him to a super religious circle run by the Order of Argent, which believed in strict adherence to Andrastian discipline. Plus, it was expensive as fuck. Dorian ran away 3 months later because his colorful spirit would not be crushed by religious trauma. And then he was discovered in a drunken stupor by Magister Alexius. Yes, that Alexius.
He was once good, apparently. And we know that from the game too, but it's the whole thing. Anyway, so a magister is a member of the magisterium, or the ruling senate of Tevinter. They hold the most power of any mage in Tevinter, and a quick path to potentially earning a seat at that table yourself is by apprenticing yourself to one. Alexius offered that position to Dorian, and this is when Dorian and his magic really thrived. After 4 years of being personally tutored by Alexius, he became a fully ranked enchanter in the Minrathous Circle of Magus. He split his time aiding Alexius with his magical research and polishing his court political skills, participating in lower floor debates, attending balls, and shirking his responsibilities as an heir to the Pavus family and not returning home to his arranged marriage bride-to-be. He told them he wanted to make senior enchanter first, but in reality, he was a gay man living in a society that only believed in breeding the next most powerful mage, not leaving any room for a love marriage.
Eventually, his little slice of heaven at Alexius's estate ended when Alexius's wife, Livia, was killed by Darkspawn, and their son Felix was infected with the taint. Without the joining ceremony, the taint is just lethal, killing the infected sometimes within hours, whereas in Felix's case, with a long and painful withering sickness. Dorian spent the following 2 years trying to help Alexius discover a cure for the taint. But Dorian eventually had a dramatic falling out with Alexius and left his tutelage. He started living a life of debauchery. Well, to stuck-up nobles, it was debauchery, but he apparently engaged in such excess that the scandals over his behavior led his family to abducting him from the house of Lord Ulio Abrexis, or rather from Abrexius's son's chambers. Dorian was then brought to his family's estate and kept as a prisoner for months, with them trying to finally force his arranged marriage. Dorian once again ran away, this time with not even a single coin to his name, yet vowing never to return.
Poor Dorian. There's more to that story that we're getting to in a little bit later in the podcast. But this escape brought some shame on his family's name, too. His father was forced to step down from his position as the Consigliere for the Archon, or the top mage in the magisterium. Oh, no. So sorry. I do not care about Dorian's dad, okay? He can get bent. Dorian spent the next 2 years drifting from one part of Tevinter to the next, most certainly getting more of an education into the shortcomings of his country than he previously had known from his life of luxury and wealth. The ironic thing about Dorian is he loves his country, even with its faults, and believes it can be better, even though he, as a person who would undoubtedly make it better, is ostracized by his fellow countrymen. And listen, we can talk all day about the events of Inquisition's quest in hushed whispers surrounding Alexius and Felix and recruiting Dorian. Make sure you recruit him if you know you want to romance him. But we aren't a game guide. What we are here to do is talk about him as a character, as a person, and his family trauma is much more of a part of his character than his reactions to seeing his old friends and the bad future Alexius creates, which all is really important story. So if you don't know it, go play the game. But we're skipping ahead from this main quest to his companion quest.
That, and if you just want to see Dorian physically being a badass, then you need to go watch the opening of this one. It's good.
At least just the cutscene. Go look it up on
Right.
YouTube.
Yeah.
There seems to be bad blood between you and your family.
Interesting turn of phrase. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs.
Because you wouldn't get married. Because you left.
That too.
Let's go meet this retainer then.
I wonder how much my father paid this man to wait around just in case I showed. We'll find out soon enough.
So eventually, enough Dorian casual flirting happens, and enough main plot point stuff happens that Dorian gets a letter from his father asking to meet a retainer of his. This is the start of Dorian's personal quest called Last Resort of Good Men. This is a required step in solidifying the romance between your Inquisitor and Dorian, and will result in some very illuminating information about the father-son dynamic here. Because, surprise, surprise, it isn't just some retainer waiting for Dorian. It's Dorian's actual father, Magister Hallward Pavus. But before we talk to his dad, let's discuss Dorian's standard tarot card, the Magician. The Magician is a card in the major arcana of tarot, and it generally means potential, energy, and the manifestation of one's desires. It represents the meeting of the physical and the spirit world. As above, so is below. And is the conduit between ideas and action. It is exactly what Dorian is.
I know it's like they picked these for a reason. This card visually tells Dorian's story as well. All the tarot cards in this game are beautiful, but I really love Dorian's especially well. It shows Dorian facing the viewer, the left side of his face obscured by a very flamboyant cloak collar. There is a symbol of a white flower adorning his collar, and his left arm is holding a tome of magic and a black staff. His right hand is raised, the infinity symbol emanating from his index and middle fingers. A white serpent, its head not visible, winds its body around Dorian's, and a golden triangle of light bursts from Dorian's forehead. The overall color scheme of this card is very bland. It's mostly white, with the only hints of black being Dorian's staff and his hair. We can see that Dorian is a good aligned mage character from this image, and the serpent suggests some burden he must carry, or something that constrains him in his life. The image of the serpent and the white flower is something that appears on all three of his possible tarot cards. This card changes to a different one as soon as you finish his personal quest, however. Let's listen to that big key moment in the conversation with his father before we talk about that tarot card.
What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion?
This is how it has always been.
You went through all of this to get Dorian here. Talk to him.
Yes, Father. Talk to me. Let me hear how mystified you are by my anger.
Dorian, there's no need to.
I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves.
I'll need you to explain that.
Did I stutter? Men and the company thereof, as in sex. Surely you've heard of it.
I've more than heard of it, actually.
No. The Herald of Andraste. I am shocked and scandalized.
Such sarcasm.
You're not exactly subtle, O Lord Inquisitor.
I should have known that's what this was about.
No. You don't get to make those assumptions. You know nothing about the Inquisitor.
This is not what I wanted.
I'm never what you wanted, Father. Or had you forgotten?
Did I fucking stutter? Oh, I love Dorian. Hands down. All right. So there are
very biased.
Yeah.
Him so much.
Yeah, we try to keep these pretty like non-biased, but no, we stand Dorian way too much in order to.
Sorry.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things to unpack here, but let's start with the obvious. Dorian's relationship with his father is complicated, to say the least. The reason Dorian ran away from his home when his father kept him as a prisoner, trying to force him into an arranged marriage with a woman he didn't like? Yeah, his dad tried to perform a blood magic ritual on Dorian that would have at best made him forget his sexuality and become straight. So essentially, magical conversion therapy? Or at the worst, it would have left Dorian basically lobotomized. Worse than being made tranquil. Ooh. It's ironic because Dorian's father has described blood magic as, quote, the last resort for a weak mind. His father was willing to risk that just to have a son that would continue the magic eugenics program that the Tevinter upper class has going on. So fuck him. Daddy can go fuck off. As the Inquisitor, you can encourage Dorian to try and reconcile with his father, or suggest that they just leave. Honestly, you can play it either way. There are justifiable reasons to forgive him or forget him. Dorian is thankful either way for the chance to see his father again. And then his card changes to the Page of Cups.
Yeah. Also, fuck his dad. Just want to get that in there too. The Page
not
of Cups
literally.
is oh no. Like, I don't know. Let's just throw him off the parapets of Skyhold and let him freeze to death in the mountains. Something.
Oh.
Anyway, he gets assassinated, spoiler alert, so he got what he deserved. Anyway, Page of Cups is one of 4 page cards. If you didn't know, there are 4 suits in a tarot deck, just like in playing cards. But they are swords, cups, pentacles, and wands, rather than clubs, aces, spades, and hearts. All page cards are the lowest members of the court in the suit of cards. The knight, queen, and king are all above them, so they have limited power, but have a potential for more, and live a life of luxury. Sounds like someone we know. And the Page of Cups specifically represents a new idea or inspiration that has come to you from out of the blue and symbolizes your creative and emotional self. This parallels quite well with Dorian, as the Inquisitor inspires him to actually do something about his homeland's darker aspects, to actually try to fix the problem rather than just be another cannot talk today. To actually try to fix the problem rather than just be another conscientious objector mage to blood magic. If you think about it, most good aligned mages in Dragon Age are identified simply by their opinion on blood magic. What makes Dorian different is he is philanthropic and giving, a man of action and intelligence, rather than just a mage with an opinion.
Visually, this card is rife with imagery. Dorian sits atop a gray horse, and its head is pointing directly up and its eyes wide open. Dorian's eyes are cast downward, looking almost lovingly, yet sadly, at his staff, which is now gold, and his magic tome is now black. Curled menacingly around the horse is a snake, its fangs bared and ready to strike at Dorian's head. The snake is black now, and while it's clearly threatening Dorian, he isn't looking at it. What looks violent might instead be petulant. Perhaps the snake represents Tevinter itself, once holding Dorian back, but now angry at his freedom. Instead of being wrapped around him, calm and non-threatening, it's now wrapped around his horse, his vehicle for escape, while blackened and angry. His horse might also represent his new purpose, to make positive change for his country alongside the Inquisition, making positive change in the world. And the snake being angry at potentially being affected by this new Dorian. But that's the beauty of art. It's in the eye of the controller.
Yep. It's up for interpretation. And your relationship with Dorian is still up for interpretation too, which is something Mother Giselle saunters her cloister ass over to Dorian about. Look, I like Mother Giselle, but also keep your religious shit out of the bedroom. She thinks it looks bad that the Herald of Andraste for the Orlesian Chantry is possibly engaging in an untoward relationship with an Imperial Chantry follower. Ugh, gag me with a spoon. We say, sashay away, Mother Giselle, and we shall continue biblically knowing our rockstar mage. An opportunity presents itself to recover the Pavus birthright, something Dorian had angrily sold after he ran away from home, but now wishes to get back, which I think is great. I mean, he loves his family. He loves his country, despite what they do to him. He wants something to remember it by, I guess. It's a romance side quest, so we're doing it. And I think Dorian's reaction to you recovering it, the amulet, is very illuminating. Some of his more interesting depths get revealed.
The amulet's important to you. Why would wanting it be foolish?
And you went and retrieved it for me. Now I'm in your debt.
I didn't do this so you would be indebted to me, Dorian. I did it for you.
That's the problem.
How is that a problem?
Someone intelligent would cozy up to the Inquisitor if they could. It'd be foolish not to. He can open doors, get you whatever you want, shower you with gifts and power. That's what they'll say. I'm the Magister who's using you.
Is that all? Go ahead and use me, Dorian. Or are you all talk?
Oh, you are glorious. I am apparently an incredible ass at accepting gifts. I apologize and thank you. I'm going to stop before I say something syrupy, but I won't forget this, and I will repay you. Count on it.
I love little ones like that.
Wait, could you think of one other person in a game that says, I won't forget this to you for romance?
Oh, we're not tangenting on Baldur's Gate again, woman. Oh, yeah. Actually, I think that line does come up in quite a few romances, but yes, I mean, I obviously heard a story on in my head going, and I won't forget this. But yeah, there's a bunch. Okay, anyways, no. Dorian. We are sticking to Dorian. This clip perfectly summarizes how Dorian has not yet learned what love looks like. Dorian has a very good sense of what he wants in a partner, He really wants a loving, monogamous relationship. But here is one freely offering a gift, and his first instinct is to feel that it is transactional. Now he owes someone, meaning that they have the upper hand. He is quickly talked down from that line of thinking, but it is hard to unlearn an entire lifetime of this cultural belief. Tevinter is not a loving place. One trope used to craft Dorian is called the gangst, or gay angst. And it's just that. Dorian is a pariah in his society, like the actual ancient Roman Empire. Gay love is not done. Want to talk about the Roman Empire? How often do you think about it? Well, back in the not-so-good old days, gay sex was merely for pleasure. It wasn't frowned upon, but same-sex fun times were just meant to be fun and not serious, or have romance or love attached to it. While Dorian's sexuality is an intrinsic part of his characterization in this story, it's not his entire story. He is not simply the traumatized gay mage who ran away from his abusive father. He is a mage who is gay, wants to love freely and openly, and who wants his home country to no longer have slaves, no longer practice blood magic, and no longer force people into loveless arranged marriages just to best mage bloodline.
It's so gross. So, yes, usually characters in Dragon Age are not defined by their sexuality, but Dorian is. And while some people have in the past, and probably still to this day, look at that as a bad thing, I don't think it is. Because his sexuality informs every other aspect of him for the better. The reason that he leaves Tevinter, the reason he wants to make his country better, is because he knows what it's like as a gay man to live in the country and not conform. He wants it to be a safe place for everyone. He's a shining example of an LGBTQIA plus character in modern video games. And I think he's one of the most important ones too. I really, really love Dorian. I'm sure you heard that already if you listened to our episode number 107 with Ben Sabin, because, we love Dorian. It's just, how can you not? How can you not? Not only is he extremely charming and wonderful, he's a genuinely good person. But before we get to really loving Dorian carnally, you understand, we need to take a mid-break. So let's listen to some fun facts and hear from sponsors and thank our lovely patrons as per usual.
Yes. Mid-break dance. Dorian 1000% deserves a Winter Palace waltz. Boldly and loudly in front of everyone. Him and his man dancing.
It's funny because I also had, just because he is, when you see him first battling solo in that one cutscene, I just have that audio of like, here comes the hurricane, Katrina, 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 like the voguing audio.
Yes. Oh, okay. Also, huge shout out to Just for the Halibut for subscribing for a 6-month block on Twitch. Thank you. Big hearts, major love.
I didn't even know you could subscribe for like blocks of time like that. That's cool.
Yeah, you can do that. I think it's like 1, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, that is the blocks you can do on Twitch subscribers. Yay! Okay, so on to Dorian fun facts. The voice actor for Dorian is Ramon Tikaram. Tikaram. Also voiced in many other games, and you may know him as Inspector Victor Aziz in the show Pennyworth, Uncle Varnya in The Great on Hulu, and Godric the Grafted in Elden Ring.
He's been in a ton of other stuff too, if you look at his IMDb, but I put what I recognized in here. So, yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff. Also, if you don't know, Dorian is the first exclusively gay romance in the Dragon Age series, and he was written by David Gator, which is why he's so great, because David Gator's so great. Ever want to come on the podcast, David? You're welcome whenever.
Great. Gator gave the concept artist the prompt of Rockstar Mage for Dorian. And when he came back looking like Freddie Mercury, he was inspired to write the character himself as a gay man. Which, yeah, 1000%.
See it.
I see it.
It's not just the mustache, but I mean the mustache helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gator, like you can look up a interview with David Gator about how much Dorian means to him and how much Dorian means to a lot of people. And I just love he poured his whole heart and soul into writing this character, and it shows. Another fun fact about Dorian, which if you're in the stream, you already know because Apollo ruined it for everyone knowing Latin. Just kidding. Pavus means peacock in Latin. Literally, that's peacock in Latin. And one trope used for Dorian is actually called Agent Peacock, which describes Dorian, essentially, a campy, vain, usually gay male companion who is also kick-ass at whatever their skill set is.
Yep. Also, peacocks are flamboyant and flashy and want to get the attention. So, yeah, it fits. Now, Dorian has appeared in 3 graphic novels, as well as in Inquisition, and of course he's in Dragon Age Inquisition.
I meant the inflection to be like he's appeared in 3 graphic novels as well as in Inquisition, like in addition to. Sorry.
Okay. Dorian has appeared in 3 graphic novels and in all of the Inquisition DLCs. He's in Dragon Age Mage Killer, Deception, and To Winter Nights. Okay. Spotify, you are lovely, and I appreciate everything. We have gotten up to 162 ratings on Spotify, and that just makes my heart soar. I don't know if we can get 40 likes in 30 days, but I think it would kick major fucking ass to hit 200 to start off the new year. Right. Now, of course, we also shout out and show the love to our patrons in the mid-break. So huge shout out, major loves to Toasty and Apollo, Becky and Daddy Bat Night, Miss Theos, Mackenzie, Muffiny Cake, and Win. Yeah. No.
Sorry, I had to cough.
Oh,
Anyway,
maybe
what?
I can do like, well, I was like, maybe while you were coughing, I could read one of the little lines that I absolutely adored, but we couldn't fit into the script. And that was okay. So if you have Cole in your party, he says this really sweet thing. Okay. If the Inquisitor is in a romance with Dorian, Cole, you're much happier now, Dorian. Dorian, is that what that light, tingly feeling is? I suppose you're right. Cole, wishing, but wondering, wounded, and wistful. What if he doesn't want me after? Dorian. But he did. Cole. Now you're smiling. It's good. Oh, Cole, you are so adorable.
Isn't he a spirit of compassion?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the best. And Sometimes he says things that hurts. Sometimes he says things like this that are just so sweet, but everything he says is so important to the person he's saying it to at that moment. And I love him for that.
Yeah.
Okay, but Jen, are you ready to dispense with the chit chat and move on to something, I don't know, more primal?
So, it's all very nice, this flirting business. I am, however, not a nice man. So, here is my proposal. We dispense with the chit-chat and move on to something more primal. It'll set tongues wagging, of course. Not that they aren't already wagging. I suppose it really depends. How bad does the Inquisitor want to be?
I thought you'd never ask.
I like playing hard to get.
And now?
I'm gotten.
And I'm deceased.
Same. Oh. How bad does the Inquisitor want to be? This slayer of men is standing behind you and whispers it into your ear. The camera only shows the ear and his mouth, and I am undone. This is just the beginning. The two then begin to make out, fully clothed, and it obviously moves to the bed. No subtle implication or left up to headcanon. They most definitely inquisit each other. Now here is the following conversation that happens in the afterglow.
I like your quarters.
Do you now?
Don't misunderstand. I'm not suggesting we venture into mutual domesticity. I just like your appointments.
Ah.
Not that I couldn't suggest some changes. Your taste is a little austere.
You seem a little distracted.
Sex will do that. It's distracting.
I heard a rumor.
Very well, you've rooted me out. There is something I want. I'm curious where this goes, you and I. We've had fun, perfectly reasonable to leave it here, get on with the business of killing archdemons and such.
Tell me what you want.
All on me, then.
Should it be all on me?
I like you. More than I should. More than might be wise. We end it here, I walk away. I won't be pleased, but I'd rather now than later. Later might be dangerous.
Why dangerous?
Walking away might be harder then.
I want more than just fun, Dorian. Speechless, I see.
I was expecting something different. Where I come from, anything between two men, it's about pleasure. It's accepted, but taken no further. You learn not to hope for more. You'd be foolish to.
So let's be foolish.
Hard habit to break.
I'm good at breaking things.
Hopefully not everything. Care to, inquisit me again? I'll be more specific in my directions this time.
Show off.
Can't. So good. I am undone. I am unwell. I don't cry in the afterglow, yet here I am wanting to cry in the afterglow. I am not even what these men are attracted to, and yet I want to be that man. I want to be the Inquisitor so that way I can be the man that gets to fall in love with Dorian. Dorian speaks to my heart, my mind, my body, and my dirty brain. It's, oh, at the beginning. And the reason that we know that this is round 2, 3, 4, who knows how many, is that Dorian is buck-ass naked. And when the camera fades back in from the fade to black, we see him standing there in all his glory. This man has ass cheeks that you could bounce a quarter off of, and he even has those little butt dimples, the little snake fang bites that I just want to do things that I should not say out loud right now. Gathering myself.
She's buffering while he's in the buff.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, he looks over his shoulder, and then he starts to turn around, and then it pans back over to my naked Inquisitor still lying in the bed, and I'm like, really? I know that you aren't going to show it, but I kind of really wanted to see digital dick in that moment. Like, my female Inquisitor's tits are out all the time. Why can't I see some digital dick? But that's a different conversation. Okay. The moments that they are sitting on the bed, having this, it starts off light and funny, and they're talking about decorating, and then they're talking about ways to have better sex, and then it goes to this really open vulnerability, and it hits you that Dorian wants to learn how to love. And that's what you're there for, is to show him that it's okay.
I mean, this scene has everything you could want. It's like super sexy and super romantic, you know?
Yeah.
It's everything. Are you still broken? Do you have more thoughts about it?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not broken. I am redone.
You put yourself back together again.
Yes.
Obviously, yes to everything Jen said, because yes. But also, this scene is just so beautifully written. It is, for me, a really bittersweet thing to witness Dorian, a man who has had no hope for falling in love, starting to hope. You can see it in his eyes, in the way he moves in this scene. He starts literally facing away from you, hiding behind his very wonderful body that I'm sure he's used many times before, but only for pleasure. He's slightly closed off, but eventually he's sitting on the bed next to you, and he's turning his body towards the Inquisitor as the conversation progresses and he becomes more vulnerable and open. He's willing to risk the heartbreak. I think most of us know what it's like to walk with grief, and while that certainly isn't fun, it means we've loved. Grief is the shadow that love casts, the proof that it was there, and the remnants of love with nowhere left to go. And you can grieve a love that you haven't had yet, the thought of it never existing. It's so beautiful to see that hope bloom in Dorian's chest, to see their love's tentative start.
More than just hope of a new love has bloomed in Dorian's chest. He has a new hope for his country, too. Where before he left to Vinter to object to its practices, removing himself and trying to forget, now he wants to return and make it better. Dorian has become an activist. He wants to walk the walk with that sexy ass and talk the talk with that glorious mouth. Sorry. There is a moment of cult. You just got that joke.
I was gonna be like, what that mouth do? Advocate
Exactly.
for better lives. Sorry.
Dying. Okay. Now there is a moment of cultural cringe with Dorian when he is speaking to Solus. Dorian will attempt to awkwardly apologize for what his people did to Solus's people. The Tevinter Empyrean is quite literally built on the bones of the ancient Elven Empire and its major city of Arlathon. I know that word. It's Arlathon.
Is it? I've heard it both ways. In my head, it's Arlathan. It sounds more elfy, but whatever. It's what we're talking about. Who knows?
You know what? Shelby pronounces it Arlathon, so I'm
Yeah.
going to go with that one.
I've seen. Gosh, where did I see it? I swear there's a reputable source where someone said Arlathan though, so like a pronunciation guide or something. But I don't know. We need a Bioware like official, like how to pronounce Forvo entry or something.
Ooh, that, or, I guess we could play the game and see how Solus pronounces it. I bet you he says Arlathon. Anyways, Solus will reply rather astutely that rather than Mage's meaningless apologies about another empire and things that may or may not have happened in a time well before he was born, Dorian should instead try to fix the real problems in present-day Tevinter. I agree. After the events at the Temple of Mythal, where some ancient truths about Tevinter and Arlathon were revealed, Dorian's resolve to change is truly born.
What happened at the Elven Temple? It's got me thinking. I should go back, shouldn't I? To Tevinter. Once this is done, if we're still alive. All my talk of how terribly wrong things are back home. But what do I do about it? Nothing.
You would just leave. What about
us? Trust me, Amatus. It would give me no pleasure to leave your side. You make monumental decisions affecting the entire world. How can I not consider some of my own?
Why don't I go with you?
Take you away from all this? I can't ask that of you.
You don't have to ask. I'm offering.
Tempting. We both know you would end up doing it all yourself. As much as watching my homeland beaten into submission would amuse me, this is something I need to do.
If that's what you have to do, I understand.
There you go. Breaking my heart. This is your fault, remember? You inspired me with your marvelous antics. You're shaping the world, for good or ill. How could I aspire to do any less? If it means proving that Tevinter can be better, that there's hope even for my homeland, I would do anything.
So good. Okay, just real fast before I talk about how awesome this whole thing is, I just wanted to mention something cute. You heard Dorian call the Inquisitor Amatus in this clip, but you may not know, unless you're Apollo, that it is Latin for beloved. I know that both of us are suckers for a pet name, and I will never get enough of the ones in this game. I love that they are unique to the culture or language of the love interest. They call you a pet name in their language, in their special way. It makes it feel much more believable and real to me, and I'm sure to anyone else playing this game too. And at the end of the game, the main game, once Corypheus is defeated, Dorian follows this calling. He returns to Tevinter and is apart from his Amatus for the better part of the next 2 years until the start of the Trespasser DLC. By then, Dorian's father has been assassinated because Tevinter is Tevinting, and in this case, it's doing it well. And Dorian is now a fully fledged magister. He's also an ambassador, much like Josephine, and also like Josephine, He is fully committed to the altruistic lifestyle, trying to make the Imperium better from his new seat of power. That's what's so admirable about him, is he has the power to do something and the willingness to actually do it.
We got popular enough to get another bot in chat. Yay! Give me a second. Blah.
We only like our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in here.
Oh, come on. Report. Spam, scam. Vote. Spam. No scamming. Yeah. Oh no, that's just a bot.
Scamming.
Scammer, no scamming.
Welcome back, Daddy Bat Night.
Unrelated shower. Go away. Oh yeah. Teventer is Teventing. I like that. That was a good one. Okay.
Thanks. Sometimes I'm smart or funny. I don't know.
Okay. Where are we? Yes, that's right. You just said something. Oh, right. Like we said earlier, Dorian now wants to both talk the talk and walk the walk, and it now has ways to do it. So he's gonna go out there and do it. So even if you've romanced him, Dorian will tell you that he is going to stay in the Imperium for good. And because being gay is not accepted in Tevinter, his Amatus cannot join him there. Even though they will be long distance, Dorian is a mage. So he gives the Inquisitor a sending crystal so they can talk when they miss each other. It's revealed in the epilogue that Dorian is spoken of often as a voice of resistance against corruption amid rumors of the Imperium's infighting. He even forms a group with other magisters called the Lucerni, meaning lantern in Latin, to restore and redeem Tevinter, a shining light in a dark place. Now, before we start our final thoughts for the night, V wanted to make me cry once again. So here we go. Time to be sad, everyone.
Leliana told us about what happened with your hand.
Why didn't you say something? I could have... I don't know, something.
Whatever happens, I wouldn't trade the years we've had together for anything. I love you.
I knew you would break my heart, you bloody bastard.
There are tears in that man's voice.
That's why I wanted to hear it. It's such an obvious love right there. Like sometimes it feels, even with whatever flowery words are written, sometimes it doesn't feel that genuine. But this is genuine.
Yeah. This is real. Because you can only really be mad and sad and have that much emotion if the opposite is true. You have to really love in order to really be hurt by the fact of that love going away. Okay. Final thoughts on the Dorian romance. Oh, it's so totally worth it. Oh my god, is it worth it? Like now I'm gonna have
that audio. It still continues after this. Like it says
Right.
even that Amatus, your Inquisitor, will sneak into the Tevinter Imperium to visit Dorian a lot and stuff. So I mean, obviously your Inquisitor doesn't die. It's just at this moment he thinks that might happen from the
Mhm.
anchor. So
Right.
I just loved that emotion in his voice.
Yeah. Because that one it's essentially the moment in Mass Effect where you're at the final beam run and you get to say your final goodbye, because you don't know what's going to happen. And then, so this is that same moment, but in Inquisition, where you don't know what's about to happen when you go through the final mirror, or the final Illuvion. Oh, okay. So, overall, I think that the Dorian romance is an amazing romance for anyone to really experience. And even if you're like, I don't have a penis, I'm never going to know what it's like to be a man loving another man. But it's something that I think that now seeing a lot of these clips and going through it, I'm going to have a really tough decision between Cassandra and Dorian on this run. Because I don't know which one I'm going to love and appreciate more. Cassandra is great. Dorian is Dorian. And then the bull's still there, so I don't know.
It's really hard to pick. They're all so well done. I will say, just with a caveat, if you are playing on a PC and with mods, do not mod Dorian to be romanceable by a female Inquisitor. I don't agree with that for any romance option that has a designated sexual identity, but it's especially insidious for Dorian, whose sexuality plays such an important part of his story. I don't even know how you can do it that way without breaking his whole companion quests and stuff. Like, it feels very wrong to me. I think it's wrong. Just play as a man.
Yep. Agreed. Don't mod away his gay. You can't pray away the gay. You can't blood magic away the gay. You shouldn't mod away the gay.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, in a story with literal, like, conversion therapy in it, you're gonna mod his sexuality to be straight.
Yeah.
It's sickening. Don't do it, please. It's not just a game. It's really not. Like, what, you're not even getting to appreciate the story, the effort, the love put into his character if you ruin it by modding it all away. So don't do it. Don't do it. Take it seriously, like we do. Because art is for fun, but it's also life. It is literally the most important thing. So, and I don't care what anyone says, it really is. What is life without art? Boring and horrible and like cave people. Like, what are we gonna have? Even they freaking drew on the sides of their caves, so I don't even want to hear it. Actually, art is forever. Anyway, Dorian.
Dorian, yes. His romance tarot card. Do we want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I realized today that I hadn't actually written into the script like a description of his romance tarot card. Which, do you remember what it visually looks like? Because if I do, if you wanted to tell what it is representing, and then I can describe it.
Oh yeah. So the romance tarot card is the Chariot, and it is a card of action and making decisions in alignment with your beliefs, channeling your willpower in pursuit of realizing those dreams. And of course, that is who our Dorian has become. He is going to take the actions into Winter that are necessary for change. And because that's now what he truly believes in. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought that tied really well into the romance too, because as you know, Dorian leaves. He goes to the Tevinter Imperium to do what he thinks he needs to do. And that is at the cost of being physically together in the same place with his love, his Amatus. And that to him is worth it. And it is worth it. It's a sacrifice, but his dream is to have a love. He has a love. And that's what I think is so beautiful about their relationship is it is secure enough to last long distance.
Mhm.
So, and it's also secure enough that Dorian can pursue his other dream, which is making his country a better place, because it is a great country and also a terrible country, but he thinks it can just be great. And I love that about him. The card itself is gorgeous. It's Dorian with both hands cupped and outstretched towards the card, with the black snake very calm looking in one hand and a white flower in the other. You can see the Inquisitor's hand, or what I assume to be the Inquisitor's hand, on his chest as well. So it's like he's being anchored by the Inquisitor, and he's also just like offering both sides of himself. They're together. Like, I think for me the snake represents Tevinter, and the flower represents Dorian. It's a white flower. It's good, it's innocent, it's pure. The black snake of Tevinter, obviously not, but he has mastered it. That's why it's not about to strike him anymore like it was in his last card. And they're both together in his hands, and he's just giving it to the world, basically. He's just so wonderful. I love him so much. He's literally one of the best characters in all of Dragon Age for how good he is. Like, he's not just some like sassy gay companion like a lot of people like, oh, he's just that campy stereotypical gay guy. He's really not. Like, and also, what's wrong with that? He's got charisma. He's got that riz, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a little bit of that, but it's also the same along anybody else's character lines. There's the front that I'm gonna put up right in the beginning, and then, oh yeah, behind that layer is who I am. Yeah, there's
Especially growing up in Tevinter, like, it's a wonder. It's actually noticeable in his accent too, that he, even though he calls it like, oh, the little primitive South, blah 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 blah. I'm so cold all the time, blah blah blah. You know, he does that, but like his accent matches that of people in Ferelden. Like, he has a received pronunciation like British accent in reality, and a lot of people in Ferelden have British accents, not the same like posh one that he has. But if you've noticed, anyone else from Tevinter tends to have kind of an unplaceable accent. Like, his dad, not the same accent as Dorian. It sounds almost Italian, which would make sense because Italian is a Latin-based language, and they do use some Italian words like conciliare in their structure of their culture. So like, he already, just by his accent alone, is divided from the other Imperium civilians, members, people, whatever. It's interesting. I don't know.
It is. I love like how analytical we could get in just so many different aspects of this game. And that's why it's like, some days I wish that we did like 3-hour long episodes.
Gosh, my
'cause
computer
it
would
could.
die. I need a desktop for that. I've got 16% battery left. I'm like,
Oh no!
running on fumes. Yeah, that was my bad because I forgot to plug my computer in right before this. Anyway, also I wanted to mention when his douche dad and him were having that confrontation, where the dad ends it saying like, this is not what I wanted, kind of just generally talking about Dorian and the situation. And to me, that line really hit, because that's so personal of a line. Like, there's so many people in the world, in this country, that have heard that or something like it from their parents for whatever reason, for literally just being gay, or some other flavor of, I'm not a straight cis person, you know? Like, for Dorian's dad to say that to Dorian, I feel like that was such a good way to connect those people's experiences to Dorian's experience, even though he has all this other stuff going on and he's like a mage and there's dragons and shit. He's still at heart like a boy that loved his dad, and his dad does not accept him, and he has had to accept that and learn to live without his father's approval. And you can see that he's done that beautifully. Like, he has all the confidence in the world, and I think he is pillar and like hope for people who maybe are still, because we all want our parents' approval, and we're not always going to get it. So
Yeah.
And as a mom, that hurt me to hear his dad say that. Like, I cannot fathom a world in which I would tell my child, I do not like who you are. I didn't want this for you. Get your ego out of it. That's the other thing. It's like, your child is an individual. You can't make them be what you want them to be. Let them be who they are and love them anyway.
Yes, big time. Him saying, "This is not the life that I wanted for you." Well, it doesn't fucking matter, Dad, because this is the life that I chose for me. And regardless of like who you are or your upbringing or any of things like that, I think everybody in this world can relate to that. Like, I don't want to live the life that my parents picked out for me. I want to live the life that I am because it's my own decisions. Oh, okay.
Which is why I love that he has love from the Inquisitor, because it's literally like, oh, we didn't even talk about freaking Iron Bull. If you don't romance Dorian, you see, or you don't romance Iron Bull, Dorian and Iron Bull will get together, which some people, as you heard, maybe if you listened to Ben's episode that we just did, it's got some questionable things in it. I really need to plug my computer in.
Well, then go
If you
plug it
want to
in.
start talking about that, I'll get it plugged in.
Okay. Okay. So, I personally like it. I watched the whole video of all the Bull and Dorian interchanges and stuff like that. And I think that they end up happy together. I don't know if it's exactly the type of love that Dorian was looking for, and I don't think that it was the type of love that Iron Bull was looking for. But they found each other and they kind of just made it work. Now, what I kind of planned on doing was having, I didn't want to play all of the audio recordings for these conversations, but I was going to have me reading out the Iron Bull lines and have V read out the Dorian lines, just so you can kind of get this sense of why some people don't like some of these interactions. And I just want people to kind of understand where it's coming from. Because I think that you can take it down the route of, whoa, Iron Bull majorly crossed a line there, and Dorian is not happy with any of these decisions, or go, oh, you know what? Upon reflection, I think that they both enjoyed things. Because that's the line that I go down. I think that they definitely both enjoyed what is about to happen. As soon as V plugs in her laptop. Why her laptop isn't plugged in at all times, I don't know. I keep mine plugged in. Like my cord's right there. But then again, I don't really ever move this laptop away from where it's at on my desk. I am the queen of chaos. Like, I definitely do not have any form of organization in my life whatsoever when it comes to me and my personality life. So I don't understand this.
Back. Sorry.
Hi.
What were you saying?
That there are some aspects to your chaos that I will never understand.
What? I'm a Virgo. How am I chaotic? No, actually, I just discovered I should just do this every time. I could just unplug part of my work computer to plug, because I only have like one outlet and I have a ton of shit plugged into them with surge protectors. But I can just unplug one of them to plug my laptop charger in for episodes. So like, I've solved my problem now. This will never happen again.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of this before.
Oh. Yeah. It's all good. It works. We figured it out. All right. So, are you ready to role play with me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I think I'll take on the bull lines. Okay. Quite the stink eye you've got going, Dorian.
You stand there, flexing your muscles, huffing like some beast of burden with no thought save conquest.
That's right. These big, muscled hands could tear those robes off of you while you struggled, helpless in my grip. I'd pin you down as you gripped my horns, and I would conquer you.
What?
Oh, is that not where we're going?
No, it was very much not. Sorry, I'm not a voice
So-
actor, but also like, ugh. I
Yeah,
never heard him
see,
say that in the game. I don't remember it anyway.
yeah, I think it's all in delivery. Because I'm like, so I can
I've heard.
completely understand how Dorian would be caught off guard, especially this being out and in public. This is party banter. There are at least 2 other people with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but like that's the main issue at first that the Dorian and Iron Bull pairing has is that Iron Bull is very proud and open about his sexuality, and Dorian has had to hide his. He's not proud of it. It's just he is not used to it being an open discussion. And also the very specific use of the word conquer coming from a Kunari to a Tevinter Imperium person. Culturally, there's a lot of context there. It's probably kind of frightening to hear that, like they've been at war for a really long time.
Yeah. But switching that out for another word, I mean, but Dorian refers to sex as inquisiting. Like, what? Like, I don't know if I
I
have an issue.
think that's like punny because he's the Inquisitor. And he's like, "Oh, you inquisit me." You know what I mean? Like, it's also Dorian. Both of them are naked. They've just had sex. They're about to have sex again. They're on equal footing. It's private in a bedroom. Clearly, both consensual. This banter, while in real life, I doubt someone would go like this. Like Dorian kind of apparently stink eyeing at Iron Bull, and Dorian is just like, you're literally a bull. Like you're just standing there, huge and huffing, and then Iron Bull takes it extremely sexual to the point where if this were Mass Effect, I would say sexual harassment panda. Like there's a clear chain of command here. But and so it's like it's out in the open, unprompted. They're running around with everybody. And Dorian is taken off guard because he's just like, holy shit, like we don't talk about Bruno, and I don't know. He might not have been even flirting with Bull. I don't think he was flirting with Bull initially, and it
Okay.
does turn that way. The thing is like this conversation is up for
Continues.
interpretation, but also what's not up for interpretation is Bull definitely took it very sexual. He initiated it, and Dorian made it clear that he wasn't
hold on.
like into that at the moment.
Right. So as soon as Bull read this, that the situation was like, that's not what you wanted, he's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
That's fine.
Very important. Because Bull's all about consent. That's the thing. Is Bull's not like being creepy here. He's being himself. And when he realizes that, like, oh shit, like, I'm sorry, this is just who I am. And like, I'm only interested in consent. That's his whole thing through his romance. He talks about it openly, obviously, with other party members. So like Bull is not a bad person here. It's just like crossed connections. You know what I mean? Like a huge miscommunication right here that made a lot of people think their relationship overall is toxic. But I do think that this was like an initial banter between them. This is not within their romance already. Although there is some more like iffy convo that happens when they have had relations as well.
See, because I like these because I think it plays back to the fact that people are like, oh, Bull just like kind of forced him into this relationship. And I don't think so. All right, so here's the next set of lines. Iron Bull. I'm just saying, Dorian, you have this picture of the Kunari in your mind. Like you see us as this forbidden, terrible thing. And you're inclined to do the forbidden.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All I'm saying is, you ever want to explore that, my door's always open.
You are impossible. This is...
Good, I like that energy. Stoke those fires, big guy. So Bull says, if you ever want to dance on the wild side, my door is open to you. It's there. It's open. You come if you want to.
Yeah, I also can see like if Dorian's genuinely mad about Bull making these innuendos at him and his anger is real, and then Bull follows it up with like, yeah, I like that energy, stoke those fires, big guy. Like me as a woman, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like I just said I don't like it. I don't know if Dorian that's the thing, is like it's gray. I taking it at face value, I'm kind of like he's pushing the envelope a little bit. Like Dorian's made it clear he doesn't want to flirt openly, and Bull continues. So I see the complaints. I think Iron Bull and Dorian are better romanced by Inquisitors than by each other. I don't think their relationship together is bad. It's just I don't think it's that good, It actually isn't that good because it ends up horribly. I mean, we'll talk more about this next. I know you want to talk about this next one.
Yeah. So, Dorian, how about last night?
I'm sorry, I was catching up on comments. Discretion isn't your thing, is it?
3 times! Also, do you want your silky underthings back, or did you leave these like a token? Or wait, did you forget them so you'd have an excuse to come back? You sly dog.
If you choose to leave your door unlocked like a savage, I may or may not come.
Speak for yourself. See, you giggled at that.
Well, because it's a dumb boy joke. I'm gonna laugh. Yeah. I mean, here it's clear that like they definitely have like an antagonistic kind of relationship, but also it is consensual at this point because he came to his room clearly at some point, and he just said he might come again to his room for some sex time. So I don't know, like a lot of people really like them together, and I love it when NPCs end up together, if not romance. Like I love seeing that in games. But I don't know, it does seem like mismatched puzzle pieces just forcing themselves together with these 3 examples. And then their relationship ends up kind of not great either because Dorian gets kidnapped by Venatori, and then I think Bull rescues him because it says like an unnamed mercenary band led by a Talvashoth warrior, which, oh wow, who's that? And they left, quote, a trail of freed slaves and dead Venatori in their wake, enabling Dorian to escape. When asked about the Talvashoth in question, Magister Pavus declined to comment. So it's like, yeah.
I mean, again, obviously that's Bull and the Chargers.
That's Bull and the Chargers. Yeah, so they rescued him. I don't know if they're still together. I'm glad that he got rescued. But at the end of the day, it's still Dorian living as a Magister in Tevinter, unable to have an open, loving relationship with either the Inquisitor or Iron Bull, which hopefully will change come Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Maybe Dorian has had a lot more influence in the years since, or however long it's been, and Tevinter is more open and accepting and less like purebred AKC award dog breeding program,
Right. Oh, okay. So, I think we've kind of covered everything now.
Yeah, I don't really have I don't care either way. I think I like Iron Bull. If they want it, fine. I think it's much better when Dorian is romanced by the Inquisitor than when he's romanced by Iron Bull. But,
agreed. Yeah. I think that's also it kind of hurts also because it's like for me, my Inquisitor, like my canon is romancing Bull. And so that means that poor Dorian is single still, and that makes me sad. But then again, so are all of the other companions except for Sarah.
I like to think that he'll find someone. He'll have to find someone. He's just too beautiful and sweet and wonderful. Okay,
maybe he should get together with
Dorian. I just looked at the time.
Yeah, but we also have quite a bit to cut out, and the first 10 minutes were bullshitting, so we're okay.
As usual. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and it's Dorian. Of course we were going to talk long.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will point out that if you are best friends with him, like for me, because I was a female Inquisitor, I could not romance him, but I flirted every opportunity I got, and we were best friends at the end, and he gave me the Sending Stone too, so we could just keep in connection. So even if he doesn't romance someone, if you're still his best friend, he'll talk to you regularly, and it says, this is what it says in the wiki about that, that those fighting at Dorian's side in Deventer note that he remains in constant contact with the Inquisitor and that these talks give him the strength to keep fighting. Which I love that ending too.
Yes. Okay. All right. I feel less guilt about not romancing him because we still be besties. All right. I think that was a good place for us to wrap it up then. If you like what you're hearing, please be sure to leave a review on iTunes or on Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can now find me on the Cyberpunk Lorecast with my co-host Toasty, where we explore the foundations of the past, the state of Night City today, and the news of the future for all things cyberpunk. And the Avengers audio drama dropped today, December 1st, at the time of this recording. So please go out there, search it on all of your podcatchers, The Avengers, the audio drama, and I am in episode 1. You'll find me. So go listen and drop them a rating as well. You can also find me in our Two Girls One Ship channel on the Robots Radio Discord, and come give us a follow on all the social medias and on patreon.com/2girlsonesship. Our theme music was composed by the ever-talented Pipe Man Studios, and our artwork was designed by the esteemed Let's Not. Links are in the description.
I am also on the Robots Radio Discord, not in the Avengers audio drama, and on our own Two Girls One Ship Discord server, where we nerd out on all our favorite CGI significant others. Be sure to check out our live streams on Twitch on Fridays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Our podcast episodes release on Mondays because you need at least one good thing on a Monday.
So thanks for listening, and remember,
beauty is in the eye of the controller.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's 131. Quite a
The
while.
hefty boy.
That's all right. I will cut it down.
Okay.
It's all right. I'm also doing 4 hours of recording tomorrow. Jeebus. Yeah, I know.
Holy Toledo, look, Batman.
Hashtag pod slut.
Pod
I love
slut.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody, to our random rantings about Dorian Pavus.
I don't think they were rantings. They were more like ravings, because they were like,
that's true. It's a little bit of ranting. Fuck his dad.
Don't fuck the dad.
With a painted piece of hardwood.
Unpolished. So that way it leaves splinters. Ooh, fuck.
Rude ass, not even tumbled. Freaking cluster I found next to a dead nug, so he gets infected too. I'm just thinking about that one cave in the hinterlands where you can find red lyrium and a bunch of nugs. Sorry, I hate his dad. I think there's nothing wrong with walking away and never forgiving him personally.
Oh. Okay.
I love how everyone thinks they're like, V's the cute little princess baby. No. I only look like that. Hi, Maya. It's always the not quiet ones. I'm not quiet. I'm too talkative.
V. Look at the camera, woman.
Look at the chunky face. So wait, I gotta hold up my chunky baby. So quiet. Oh, hefty boy. Look at this beautiful little blob. My void boy.
I love that yours is the void boy and mine is the ghost woman. Like,
He has to
how are we
carry all
so
his
yin yang?
mantle of most annoying cat to meow in the podcast.
Man.
Oh, my Air Bear. All right, everybody.
Okay. We love you. Good night, stream.
Good night.